Good evening. In exactly a week from now, Jammu and Kashmir and Jharkhand will go to the polls. Now, while these two states may be small, their political importance cannot be understated. Starting tonight, Rajya Sabha TV will be running a special election bulletin at 7:30 every night. Verdict, the first 15 minutes in English and the next 15 in Hindi. Welcome to the show. I'm Zakir Jacob. Up first, as always, the headlines. It's all set for elections in Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Today was the last day for withdrawal of nomination papers for the second phase of polls. The campaigning is just intensifying in Jharkhand. BJP President Amit Shah addresses his first string of rallies across the state, promises development for Jharkhand. On the other side, RJD chief Lalu Prasad Yadav indicates the way ahead for his party. He says a grand alliance could form the government after the elections in Jharkhand. So our top story. Today was the last day for the withdrawal of nomination papers for the second phase of assembly elections, both in Jammu and Kashmir as well as in Jharkhand. Both states are going to polls in the first phase next Tuesday, that's the 25th of November. Just a little over a week to go for the start of elections. We take a look at some of the main campaign issues in both these states, the star players, and what the deciding factors are.
Both Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir will have 5 phased elections next week, starting with the first phase on 25th of November and the 5th phase on December 20th. Counting of votes for both sides will be on 23rd of December. Over 2.7 crore electors are enrolled to exercise their franchise for the 81-member assembly in Jharkhand, while nearly 72.25 lakh voters are eligible to cast votes for 87 seats in Jammu and Kashmir. The ruling government in Jharkhand is a coalition between the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, the Rashtriya Janata Dal and the Congress. But with both assembly elections shaping up to be yet another test of durability of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's appeal, the Congress is looking to contest the poll alongside the Janata Dal United, the RJD and the JMM. Even as people are looking for better amenities, the state is going to elections under the shadow of a Maoist call for a poll boycott.
विकास की गति तेज होगी तो नक्सल समाप्त होगा। साथ ही राखी कला और जो भी पुल अर्ध निर्मित हैं या नहीं निर्माण हो पाए हैं, जिसके कारण जिला मुख्यालय से यहाँ की दूरी लोगों को 150-200 किलोमीटर एक्स्ट्रा करना पड़ता है। वो उम्मीद है कि इस चुनाव के बाद वो कार्य पूरा होगा।
हमेशा कार्य हो रहा है, यहाँ के लिए उपलब्धि मानी जा रही है। यहाँ के लोगों में इसके चलते काफ़ी उत्साह देखा जा रहा है कि महुआ डोडा मंडल को इस तरह का दर्जा मिला कि यहाँ पे विधानसभा चुनाव का नॉमिनेशन हो रहा है।
For decades, the Maoists have controlled a large swath of central and eastern India, drawing significant sustenance from Jharkhand and exploiting the conflict between the poor, tribal villagers and the companies engaged in mining the rich natural resources in the state. On the other hand, while Jammu and Kashmir also shares an equal amount of security concerns, ordinary residents complain about lack of basic facilities. The ruling coalition of the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah-led National Conference and the Congress Party was dissolved at the centre after the Lok Sabha debacle. Both parties have given enough indication that they would contest the upcoming elections on their own. The recent devastating floods in the state aggravated water scarcity, increasing the common people's problems.
इलेक्शन का दौर चल रहा है। इस वक्त हर कैंडिडेट हमारे पास आ रखा है, लेकिन इस वक्त हमने वो कैंडिडेट चुना है जो हमारे इधर के मसाइल हल करेगा। इधर एक टैंक बना है, उसमें पैप नहीं है, खाली टैंक बना दिया। उस टैंक बने को 4 साल हो गए, अभी उसके कोई पैप का कनेक्शन नहीं है। उसमें पानी की बिल्कुल किल्लत है। इधर 2 मील से पानी आना पड़ता है हमें। यहाँ किधर आर्मी की गाड़ी इधर पानी देती है हमको, अगर आर्मी भी ना दे और इधर पानी का कोई साधन नहीं है।
तो बाकी बिजली की क्या पूछना?
बिजली की भी यही हाल है, बिजली का भी कुछ नहीं है।
यहाँ पे हमें हर तरह की प्रॉब्लम है। आज तक किसी भी कैंडिडेट ने, जो इतने इलेक्शन हुए हैं, किसी ने भी यहाँ पर कोई ध्यान नहीं दिया। हमारे यहाँ हमें पानी की कोई सहूलत नहीं है, बिजली का भी बहुत बुरा हाल है, उसके बाद मेडिकल सहूलत नहीं है।
Another issue troubling people is the cross-border firing. Exchanges of sporadic fire are common along the border, with Pakistan increasingly violating the ceasefire agreement of 2003. And with the elections barely days away, security forces are expecting the violence to intensify further. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, make no mistake, of these two states, Jammu and Kashmir is the prestige battle for the central government and for the Prime Minister. Vishal Dahiya is our correspondent. He's joining us live on The Verdict. Give us a sense of this Mission 44, as the BJP has put it, this fight for Jammu and Kashmir. How easy or difficult is it going to be for the National Party?
Well, Jaga, you put it right. This is definitely a battle of prestige for the Prime Minister himself and his party. That's Narendra Modi and the BJP because of this Mission 44. Now, Mission 44 is exactly coined on the same terms as it was Mission 46 in the state of Haryana and Mission 144 in the state of Maharashtra. Though they achieved to, though they managed to achieve this benchmark in the state of Haryana, fell short of this halfway mark in Maharashtra. Now, in Jammu and Kashmir, the total number of seats in the state assembly is 87. Out of them, any party needs at least 44 seats to go ahead and form the government with a simple majority. That's the halfway mark. That is something which is a very ambitious, project for the BJP. But then let's not forget that it was as much ambitious project for the BJP in the state of Haryana and Maharashtra as well. Specifically in the case of Haryana, wherein they formed the government on their own. This time around, the very fact that the BJP has, put in a lot of effort, both in terms of leadership, who is going to campaign in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, who has the charge in their hands as far as the entire election campaign in the state of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, as well as the kind of feelers which are being given from the BJP to the people of Jammu and Kashmir about the entire plan which they have. Though the formal manifesto is yet to come out, not only from the BJP but also from other political parties as well. But then the Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, that is MOS PMO Jitendra Singh, who hails from the Jammu region in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, has been recently made the head of the campaign committee for the BJP. And there are several other leaders who are all set to go ahead and tour the state, in addition to their star campaigner Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. So this election, which is spread out across 5 phases in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the focus of the BJP seems to be more on the Jammu region, wherein they hope to go ahead and garner more of the seats. But then they are also not letting go of the Valley area. There are several seats specifically, some of them even in Srinagar district itself, wherein the BJP is not leaving any stone unturned to ensure that they rest those required number of seats to achieve that Mission 44
and they're also bringing in smaller parties, Sajjad Lone being just one example, bringing these smaller parties from the valley, hoping that that would be the tipping point, push them beyond that magic figure of 44. Thanks for joining us, Vishal Dahiya. I'm sure we will have a chance in the future as well, in the next few days, to talk about the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly polls. Vishal was referring to the Prime Minister as the star campaigner. The chief strategist, of course, is Party President Amit Shah, and he kicked off the party's campaign for the Jharkhand Assembly polls today. He addressed a string of rallies, hoping to gain some momentum from it. He addressed rallies across Jharkhand, 4 of them, in fact, in Gadhwa. He also subsequently addressed rallies in Palamu and Gumla. Remember, these are Naxal-infested areas. The BJP did extremely well in the Lok Sabha elections. They won 12 out of 14 seats in Jharkhand. The BJP chief promising inclusive growth if the party is elected to power in Ranchi.
हम चाहते हैं कि झारखंड के हर गांव में बिजली पहुंचे। हम चाहते हैं झारखंड के हर गांव में पीने का पानी पहुंचे। हम चाहते हैं झारखंड की स्वास्थ्य सेवाएं सुधरे, शिक्षा व्यवस्था सुधरे, कानून और व्यवस्था सुधरे, माता और बहनों की सुरक्षा का इंतजाम झारखंड सरकार ठीक से कर देगी।
On the other side of the political spectrum, RJD chief Lalu Prasad Yadav today indicating that a post-poll alliance cannot be ruled out. According to the news agency PTI, Lalu reportedly said that a government could be formed based on a grand alliance, but only after the elections. Lalu was addressing a rally in the Husainabad village in Palamu district. The RJD failed to forge a pre-election alliance as both ruling partners, that's the JMM and the Congress, separated right before the elections. All 3 parties, that's the JMM, the Congress and Lalu's RJD, are now contesting on their own. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has dismissed a plea seeking the postponement of assembly polls in flood-ravaged Jammu and Kashmir. The court refused to direct the Election Commission to defer the dates of the polls on the ground that relief and rehabilitation are still on. The petition claimed that a large number of people are still displaced. In that light, a free and fair poll would not be possible. According to the petition, there are still more than 2,500 villages which were hit by floods and around 400 villages which were submerged. As a result, the petitioner argued that the polls had to be deferred, which the court has refused to. Staying with the Valley, just days before the polls, Mehboob Beg's decision to quit the National Conference was a huge blow for the ruling party. He chose to pull out from the assembly elections, but he advocated the PDP's chances to win the polls, saying that he will support Mufti Saeed and his daughter Mehbooba Mufti if they were to come to power.
In a major setback to the ruling National Conference ahead of the assembly polls, former Lok Sabha MP Mehboob Beg quit the party. He extended his unconditional support to PDP leader Mufti Mohammad Saeed. However, he said that he will not join PDP and chose to pull out as a candidate for the elections.
मुफ्ती साहब में ही वो दम है कि वो नरेंद्र मोदी का जो ये यलगार है वो ये रोक सकता है.
Although several senior leaders of National Conference have quit the party recently, Beg is the most high-profile leader to have walked away so far. Earlier this month, Sheikh Ghulam Rasool resigned to join PDP. However, National Conference is not too bothered with the developments.
इलेक्शन के दौरान ये कोई नई बात नहीं है कि लोग अपनी जो है पार्टियां बदलते रहते हैं. यहाँ भी आपने देखा होगा पिछले कई दिनों से मुसलसल यहाँ जो है बाकी पार्टियों के लोग जो है शामिल हो रहे हैं. ये कोई नई बात नहीं है डेमोक्रेसी में.
Mehboob Beg was elected to Lok Sabha in 2009 from Anantnag seat. Justifying his decision to quit the party, Beg accused Chief Minister Omar Abdullah for ignoring South Kashmir and his constituency Anantnag. Incidentally, Beg lost the 2014 polls to PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti from Anantnag. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's the wrap of the verdict tonight. I'm Zaka Jacob. Stick around. Loktantra begins right after this.